some movement on an FAA administrator. It's these buildings behind me that are going to make that a reality or not. Welcome from Washington, D.C. Let's get to it. Finally, some movement on the FAA Administrator Nominee. Last week, the White House announced that President Biden was going to nominate Mr. Michael Whitaker, the former Deputy Administrator, for the position. But did they really send it over to the Senate yet? That's kind of unclear. Lots of news that says that he has been nominated, but very clearly, the press release from the White House says they intend to do it. So, hey, just another oddity of the way that this administration is handling one of the more important, of course, dear to my heart, agencies in the federal government. Just kind of weird. But hey, Mr. Whitaker is the antithesis of the person that they nominated before. Nothing against Mr. Washington, but he didn't have the criteria, certainly, that that the Senate was looking for, particularly the Republicans. And in this case, Mr. Whitaker's resume checks every single box imaginable. He was the FAA's Deputy Administrator. Hey, that's as close as you can get without getting that job. Let's start with that. Check. He was a Deputy Administrator from 2013 through 2016 under Administrator Huerta. That position also made him the FAA's Chief Next Gen Officer, so he should know all about the FAA's modernization efforts. Check. He worked for years for both United and TWA and an international airline. Check. Although not publicized in his CV or on his LinkedIn, he has done a significant amount of UAS and UTM work, AirMap in particular, and although that company is no longer with us, they were a pioneer that worked significantly on establishing what is now sort of the UAS traffic management capabilities that we just come to take for granted now, including lands. Check. Okay, so in his latest position, he's with Supernal as a senior leader. That is an eVTOL manufacturer, an arm of Hyundai, and another challenging new entrant into the system. So he's got that experience. Check. So let's go get him confirmed. The FAA needs a permanent leader. Time is a wasted, as they say, but that's where there's a rub. As we stare at Congress that sits behind me, I just don't see how they get a hearing to get him confirmed for his 5-year appointment. We're only 14 months from a presidential election, and Mr. Whitaker's runway to get that confirmation done is rapidly running out of runway. So we'll see what wins out. Politics or the needs of an agency that is facing a mountain of challenges, like near collisions, obviously controller staffing issues, aging infrastructure, and a host of new entrants on the horizon. Yeah, let's just punt. No, that's not the right answer. In any event, the FAA needs an administrator. They need it now. Godspeed, Mr. Whitaker. So let's talk about another mess. Remote ID. It's a feature for small drones to broadcast specific information about the drone's identity, which can be used by law enforcement in the event of security issues. The rule, it's kind of like ADS-B. Some people call it a license plate for drones. Okay, the rule is highly controversial about privacy issues and things like that, but it went into effect this past weekend on the 16th. Newer commercial drones already have this stuff, so kind of a software update. But older drones, or anything that you built on your own or that you modified, or anything that comes out of a hobby kit, pretty much needs a bolt-on transceiver or transmitter. So that's the first problem. These modules just aren't available. You try to get one, and I can't find anybody that's actually received the ones that they ordered. The FAA was very late in establishing the standards that could be used, so it's behind. It was with supply chain issues, just can't get it done. most of the stuff that I found that's at least reasonably priced is backordered. The other thing is the rule said this should cost between $50 and $100, and it's 2 to 3 times that. So not being equipped means that as an operator, I should use an FAA recognized zone, what they call a FRIA. And they're basically the Academy of Model Aeronautics sites, and there are other community services like that that have these zones. But the FAA has to go through and approve them. Well, the rule is now almost two years old now. They haven't done that either. So they've approved 700. They've denied 200, which really leaves me in a lurch if I'm a recreational flyer. But there's 800 to go. And we've passed the deadline. So what were they thinking? That deadlines don't apply to them? So what's all that's going to happen in how this proceeds? Well, a lot of the blogs and YouTubers are identifying that the rule has been pushed out. Somehow that it's been delayed by 6 months until March 16th of 2024. But that is just not the case. The rule is the rule, and the rule is on the books. It went into effect. But the FAA will consider all the circumstances surrounding why you aren't equipped if you're not equipped. So if you are equipped, you're fine. But if you're not equipped, they got to think about it. Whatever the circumstances are, whether it's unanticipated issues with the supply chain, the cost, whatever the rationale is, they'll take that into consideration whether they enforce the rule on your specific case or not. That's really different than delaying the rule in total. So the rule's not delayed. They'll just take some consideration on your circumstances. Well, thank you very much for handling this. So since they didn't say they were going to enforce the rule, and if you are going to do, not going to fly, make sure you have your excuses ready. But that all starts with, hey, look, if you're doing something unsafe, you're going to get the book thrown at you, including this rule. No excuses for doing the unsafe stuff. And then there'll be no excuses for not having compliance with the rule. So just don't do unsafe stuff. Keep the community safe, please. And it's not just the FAA you really kind of got to worry about. You kind of got to worry about your insurance company. If you've got insurance, there's a little tag in there that says that, hey, you're doing everything right. Well, if you don't have compliance with a rule that exists, maybe you're not doing so right. So, in the end, got to get this resolved quickly and be extra safe if you're not complying. On a lighter note, hey, nothing beats flying on a private jet. Hey, except maybe flying on a private jet with a glass of wine in your hand. Hey, but not any wine will do. You can lose up to 10% of your taste senses aboard a pressurized aircraft due to low humidity, cabin altitude, and some wines and vintages handle that better than others. So in the comments, you're going to find a list of 10 wines that's established by people that make their livelihood by making these recommendations for the people that can afford the private jet. I haven't tried them personally, but I got to find somebody with a jet that will take us around. We can see what that's like. Put a link in the comments if you want to go flying. Hey, hit subscribe, hit like, leave me a comment below. Look at the comments at least and check out the wine list. Who knows? We'll see you next time.